General Hospital spoilers. Gio refuses DNA results. Lulu and Chase panic as dark secrets explode in Port Charles fire. Port Charles is on the verge of imploding as secrets unravel and long-held lies threaten to tear families apart. In a week where truths come with devastating consequences, Joe's refusal to accept his DNA results shocks everyone, especially Lulu and Chase, who may be hiding more than anyone expected. Strap in for a heart-pounding ride as the past resurfaces, loyalties are tested, and the future of several Port Charles families hangs in the balance. After months of speculation, whisperings, and mysterious glances, the truth about Joe's parentage was supposed to bring clarity. Instead, it sets off a chain reaction of confusion, suspicion, and panic. The test results are delivered to General Hospital's lab under strict confidentiality. Portia herself handles the results, fully aware of their sensitivity. Curtis, who's grown strangely protective of Gio, stands beside Portia as she reads the papers, her eyes widening in disbelief. "This changes everything," she whispers. The document confirms what some had feared and others had hoped. Gio is not who he thinks he is. But when the results are presented to him, Gio doesn't even glance at the envelope. His eyes blaze with fury and denial. "I don't need a piece of paper to tell me who I am," he growls, storming out of the lab. Stella tries to follow, calling after him, but he disappears through the stairwell, leaving everyone stunned. Lulu Spencer has been walking on eggshells ever since returning from her coma. While the world sees a poised and determined woman ready to reclaim her life, few know the anxiety gnawing at her soul. The DNA results represent a truth she's feared would one day come to light, a truth she never wanted Gio to know. In her private moments, Lulu confides in Laura. Tears streaming down her face, she recalls a night she tried to forget, a memory buried deep during the height of the Cassadine Wars. A one-night stand. A blackout. A child. Laura gently urges her to come clean, but Lulu can't risk it.
Not now.
Not when Joe's emotional stability is already cracking. Meanwhile, Chase has been unusually silent. As a former cop turned protector of Joe's well-being, he too seems rattled by the results. But his panic goes beyond Joe's rebellion. What is he hiding? Brooklyn notices Chase's odd behavior. He hasn't slept, barely eats, and avoids any mention of Gio. One night, she finds him in the Quartermain boathouse, pacing like a man on the verge of collapse. "I have to tell you something," Chase says, voice trembling. He reveals a startling truth. Years ago, before Gio came to Port Charles, Chase ran into him in a small town in Pennsylvania. Gio was a runaway, bruised and scared, and Chase, still a cop, helped him, without filing a report. He let him go. Months later, Chase discovered Gio was connected to someone in Port Charles, but he buried it.
Why?
Because of who Joe's real father might be. Brooklyn gasps. "You think it's him?" Chase nods slowly. "I think Joe's father is someone dangerous. Someone who could destroy everything." Speculation runs wild through Port Charles. Who could be Joe's father? Valentine? Cyrus? Jason? Or is it someone even more unexpected? Portia continues digging, and her worst fears are confirmed. The DNA doesn't just rule out Chase. It matches a genetic marker tied to someone else in the hospital database. Someone who's been a ghost in Port Charles for years. Victor Cassadine. Laura nearly collapses when she hears. "That's impossible. He's dead." But Portia shakes her head.
He's dead now.
But Gio was conceived long before that. The markers are undeniable. The implications are chilling. If Victor is Joe's father, what does that make Gio? A Cassadine heir? A sleeper weapon? A time bomb? With the world trying to define his identity, Gio turns his back on everyone, including Chase, Lulu, and Spencer. He wanders into the darker side of Port Charles, eventually crossing paths with Selena Wu. Selena sees potential in Gio, his charisma, intelligence, and deep-rooted rage. She offers him mentorship, power, and revenge. Gio hesitates at first, but when he learns Lulu and Chase may have known the truth all along, something inside him breaks. He accepts Selena's invitation, slowly falling under her influence. She gives him a new name, a new suit, and a new identity. From now on, she whispers, you play my game. Realizing Gio has aligned with Selena, Lulu and Chase team up with Dante and Sam to stage an intervention. But it's not just about saving Gio anymore. It's about salvaging what's left of their integrity. They decide to tell Gio the full truth about his father, about the night Lulu can barely remember, and about Chase's years-old silence. But Gio doesn't take it well. He calls them out in front of the entire Metro Court during a benefit hosted by Laura. You all lied to me. You had years to come clean. And now that I'm becoming something you don't control, you want to confess. The room falls silent. Journalists catch every word. Port Charles is never the same again. After Joe's public outburst, everything changes. Laura resigns as mayor, unable to separate family from duty. Lulu faces scrutiny over her silence and begins spiraling emotionally. Chase is suspended from the PCPD pending investigation for misconduct. Selena Wu consolidates power, using Gio as her golden protege. Spencer blames himself for introducing Gio to the family and begins questioning his own role in the Cassadine legacy. Meanwhile, Valentine returns to town, furious that his father's sins are resurrecting in his absence. He confronts Gio, only to be shocked by Joe's icy defiance. You may have worn the Cassadine crown, but I'm what's next, Gio snarls. Just as the dust begins to settle, another envelope arrives. This one isn't from Portia or Gich, it's anonymous, slipped under Laura's door in the dead of night. Inside is another DNA result. This one tells a different story. Victor Cassadine is not Joe's biological father. The new match? A living, breathing Port Charles resident. Someone who's kept a low profile for months. Martin Gray. Laura's eyes widen. No, it can't be. But the test is legitimate. Verified. And if it's true, it means everything they thought they knew is wrong. Martin receives the news just as he's preparing to leave town. He collapses in shock. Gio is his son. But Lucy, surprisingly, urges him to come forward. You've already missed most of his life.
Don't miss the rest.
But when Martin approaches Gio, Selena intercepts him. He doesn't need you, she hisses. He has me now. Gio overhears, and the moment becomes explosive. Martin pleads for a chance, but Gio, fueled by betrayal, confusion, and Selena's whispered promises, pushes him away. I don't need a father, he says coldly. I only need a target. Will Gio descend further into Selena's world, or will someone reach him in time? Can Lulu and Chase ever redeem themselves, or is their bond with Gio permanently destroyed? Is Martin truly the father, or just another manipulated pawn? Will the Cassadines strike back, seeing Gio as a threat or an opportunity? One thing is certain, Port Charles has a new wild card, and he's not playing by the old rules.